fire department's coming for the flames. What's up everybody, Manny from Motomillion here. In this video today we're going to install the AeroWorks titanium slip-on this beautiful Streetfighter V4. The installation is going to be the same on the Panigale V4 except we don't have the lower belly pan to deal with it. So let's get to it. By the time Mike is here, I'm going to be done. Did he say he's on his way? Well, Manny doesn't know what he's doing. So firstly, we're going to take this little side panel off and the aluminum cover. That's where your servo motor sits, and we're going to use a 4mm Allen head. Remember, this black one is going to go on the painted one, and the painted surfaces all have this plastic washer on it so that it doesn't scratch your paint when you tighten the bolts back on the bike. To get these aluminum side covers off, there is one bolt inside over here. And then as you can see, this is the same bolt as the side panel one, but since it's not on a painted surface, on a black plastic, it doesn't have the washer, the plastic washer. And then one last bolt is the lower bolt that's here. And then now this side cover will just come right off, just like that. And now we've exposed these two bolts that are over here. I'm gonna get these off. And then this breather hose, you could just snap it off from right here. Now that we've exposed the servo motor, we're going to work on getting the muffler off of here, and then we're going to not be using this anymore since the new exhaust doesn't have flappers, and we're going to be using the up map to make sure that this is coated out of the bike. You'll see that there's one bracket on each side of the bike. There's 6mm Allens. We're going to take these out. They have these spacer washer things that are in here, so I'm just going to put them with the bolts in case we got to reuse it. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side right now. Next, we're going to remove the springs of the stock exhaust. If you don't have a spring puller, don't get alarmed because the Aero exhaust comes with the spring pullers. So we'll just open up this exhaust. Right in here, it's hiding behind everything, it's camera shy. So there's one spring for the front header, which is right here, right under the bike. So it comes off fairly easy. There's one more from the other side that we're going to get to. We're going to gently pull this out. Now that's the front header done. The rear header, you'll see it. There's one spring in the front and one spring in the back. The back one is really easy. The front one, you could tell by looking at it that you have to kind of get creative with it. Just like that, you can just get it off. Before we go any further, I'm going to use my 4mm to take the chain guard off, the lower chain guard from the muffler that's attached to. It's right down here. Word of caution, it might be full of the chain grease. Once it comes off, you can move your chain guard out like this, and this piece fell off of it. Don't lose these little grommets and stuff that come off of it because we have to reuse these to put them back on. It's basically there's a rubber piece here for the vibration, and there's two metal sleeves on each side. Now we're ready to pull off the muffler off the bike. After the bike was fully cooled down, we used some WD-40 on this gasket here. It's called I believe it's called a donut gasket, or at least that's what I call it. And then that will help you to just pull this muffler down. As you see, it just slides right down. So now that the muffler is loose, it just needs a little bit of encouragement, and we're gonna use this little block of wood. And my mallet here. I'm gonna place this here on the edge. This just gives me leverage to be able to tap on the exhaust. And I'm going to do the same thing from the front. As you see, just with a little bit of wiggling and just a couple taps from the front, the rear header is now pretty loose on this donut gasket. Just to make things easier, I'm just going to apply a little more WD-40 on it. I'm also going to do the same thing in the front. We're also going to spray WD-40 on this bracket right here. This is also what holds the exhaust. You could tap it from here just like this. It might bend a little bit, it's not a problem. It's just to get this loosened up. Now before we get any further, we're going to take the 3 8mm bolts out of the servo motor, and we're just going to disconnect it. There's one bolt on top and two in the bottom. And then this is the plug you see right here. All we gotta do is unplug it. There you go, now we can put it aside. Now we're ready to pull this muffler back to remove it off its face. There you go. Yeah, that whole box weighs less than that whole thing. So I got our scale here. It's zeroed out as you can see it. We're gonna put the stock muffler on it. It's weighing at 17.4 pounds, as you can see. The whole box of aero on here, the whole box itself is just at 10.3. And if you guys think we filled it with a bunch of air, everything's in here, all your brackets and your complete exhaust. So here's some of the piping. As you see, this is titanium. This weighs probably nothing, just that piece. Look, it's less than a pound just for that piece, which is cool. Just for the sake of the video, let's measure the front collector piping. That's at 0.8 pounds. Let me just grab those mufflers to show you how beautiful these pieces are. It has a coating on it right now for transportation, but we'll wipe all that off. It has a beautiful carbon tip. Let's put this on the scale. So this is 2 pounds. And this is the right muffler, 2.2 pounds. So 2 pounds, 2.2, that's 4.2. Let's put the hardware and the carbon heat shield on it. It's at 2.6, 2.7. So that's another 0.5. So that was 2.7, 2.2, 0.8.5. Now I lost myself. 3.5, so 5.2, 6.2, right? Yeah. So if you do the math, and if I did the math right, it's kind of hot here if you can't tell by my sweaty face. I think it's total of 6.2 pounds versus the 17 pounds that we took off. So that's over 10 pounds of weight savings. And look, we're not cheating or doing anything. All the hardware, even the stickers are on there for the sake of it. But let's get to it. Let's get this on the bike because I'm sure y'all want to hear it and I want to hear it too. We're going to start with the rear collector. They have this lubricating metal. I think this is just anti-seize. This stuff gets really nasty, so try not to get it on anything because it's hard to take off. I have a little bit here, so I'm gonna try to put it on here and not on my fingers. And all you do is you put it in place. The hooks are gonna line up for the springs, but the main port is for it to line up right here on the right side bracket. This is our front collector pipe. We're gonna do the same. I'm gonna coat inside of this. So this front collector pipe, just put it over the rear one like this, line it up in place, and this slides fairly easily. And then if you look over to the other side, once you have it in place, if you come onto the other side of the bike, you'll see in here, the front collector and the rear collector, they line up right here. So now I'm just gonna go through the hardware kit to get the springs on, to bolt these down, and then we'll get ready to put the mufflers on the bike. Grab this Allen head bolt and the washer, and let's put the bolt by the bracket. Don't tighten any of these yet because we first want to just get these in place and then we'll put the springs on, because when you put the springs it's going to move a little bit around, so you want it to have a little bit of a play for it. So where the front and rear collectors meet, we're going to use this bolt right here. There's two of these. There's one longer and one shorter. We're using the shorter one because you're going to know the thread's different, and we're going to use the lock nut. So you want to make sure whatever you grab fits in that lock nut. Grab one washer for the front, and we're going to put it through right here, and then from behind we're going to put washer, and then the last thing is going to be that lock nut that I showed you, and you're just going to put this in place like this. So next piece is this bracket that you see. Grab this rubber grommet, and you're going to put this in place. While you hold it like this, just like the same orientation that I showed you, you're going to grab this bushing piece, and you're going to put this bushing right in. And this is your left side bracket. So before we go any further, grab these clips. There's one clip that slides into here, and this other one goes on the left muffler, and it's going to go like this on the bike. So you want to make sure the threaded face of this clip faces away from the side that has the etching on it. We're going to grab a little more of this paste that we used. So now we're going to grab the left muffler and slide it into place. Then grab your bracket. It goes just like this. And we have our M6, the longer bolt, and a washer. Put the washer through. Put your bolt through your lower part of your bracket and just hand tighten it. Again, I haven't tightened any of the bolts that we put on. I want to tighten everything after we put the springs in place. So now that that's in place, this is the upper bolt. It has the washer on it. This is an M8 and this is good to go. So this is your left side muffler. Now let's get onto the right side muffler. Then we'll start putting all our springs in place. So at this point, the only pieces that you're going to have left is your springs, your heat shield, your right side muffler, and then you'll see that you have these little bolts, the little washers, and there's this another bushing with the composite washer that's in place that we've already put it in. So just push them through and make them look like this. And these go on the back through the carbon heat shield, and your bolt goes through in the front just in this way. And then we're going to do the same for the lower one, and this is going to go in place like this. Coat this pipe right here. So grab your 2 rear header to collector springs, the OEM ones, before you put this muffler in place. So now we're just going to pull our spring down and connect it. Now we're going to grab our right muffler that we prepared. Just going to put it in place right here, and you'll see it lines up to that little clip that we had placed there. Now grab your bolt and your washer and thread it right there by hand. We're going to install the spring for the right side muffler. There's a long and there's a short one. According to the instructions, the long one will be used over here. Just going to place this right in place, just like that. And we're going to be using the shorter spring for the left side muffler. Just like that. And now we're left with 2 of the OEM springs. We're going to get onto the other side and tighten up the front collector to the front header. Now the last one is the bottom one. Put the bottom one in place. Now that all the springs are in place, we're going to tighten the upper bolt here, which is a 6mm. Now we're going to go on to the lower bolt, which is a 5mm. On this side, we have 2 bolts here. We have a nut in the back we got to hold, and we have a bolt over here. Now that we're done tightening all the bolts, don't run ahead and start the bike. Just grab yourself some clean shop towels, paper towels. First of all, I'm going to see if there's any excess of the anti-seize that we put on anywhere. Now is the time for you guys to leave those comments. You missed a spot, because every time somebody wipes something down or washes something, I know there's some eagle-eyed viewers that'll say you missed a spot or you forgot that. So if you see a spot I missed, leave them down in the comments. Okay, so now it's time to remove the DB killers. Some people call them baffles. They're called DB killers. It's a 3mm Allen head. We're just going to undo this side first. So there you go. This is the DB killer. This is what your neighbors like, what we don't like. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side.
Oh, it's coming up. There you go.
I told you.
Oh. My shoulder's so sore. So that's it, guys. That's how easy it is to install the AeroWorks slip-on a Streetfighter V4. The installation is fairly similar on a Panigale V4, with the exception of having to take off your lower belly panels. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, guys, and I'm going to start this up for one last time. We're going to have a proper sound clip video, and on the next video, we're going to be installing the up map on this bike to get it all running right.